Phoenix. If you don't remember that, that just tells you how much has happened in the past year. Because unless you were one of the late additions to Phoenix, like waitlist or something, you would have had a call with an advisor teacher. So I'm a little bit behind right now. If you are behind, see that segue? Math lunch is a great idea. Come and do work. We eat, like bring your food down here. We eat here real quick while we're doing work because you can chew while thinking about a math problem, and we can get caught up that way. 711 through 713 are in math. 714 is going in today. I wanted to give you another chance to turn it in. So if you still have 714, please turn that in. Any questions on 715 before I move on to 716? Now put on some chapstick. Guys, just a general reminder, if you don't feel well, stay home. But if you do feel well, come to school and bring your Chromebook. You might notice that Mr. Kabila is not here today because he doesn't feel well. If you don't feel well, stay home. But if you do, come to school, bring your Chromebook and your charger. Mara? 62B, as in boy. All right, 62B. Now I'm doing this blind because I haven't even looked at this one yet. The trap door here is probably the same trap door that got a lot of us on the mastery assessment. What number is being distributed? -3. Not just 3. So friends, please look up here because a lot of you are making this correction on your mastery. And about 50% of the people turning their stuff back in are still missing this negative. So this is -3 times -2x. And I'm going to make this arrow really big. Because what's -3 times -2x? Positive 6x. And -3 times 1 is -3. So then we're going to have, and I'm going to rearrange this to make more sense. We got a 9 and a -3 or a -3. Then we have a -5.5x, which I can write as minus, but we know it's negative. And then I have a positive 6x. So 9 minus 3 is going to get me 6. -5.5 plus 6 is going to get me a positive 1/2x. And I hope that answer matches the key. Yep, I just wrote it in the other way around. So 1/2x plus 6 or 6 plus 1/2x. Normally we put the x number first. But guys, like we talked about, it's better to say 1/2 times x than x times 1/2. It's better to put the 1/2 in front. And you can put the multiplication symbol if you want. Yes? Oh yeah, I'll send yours extra. Sorry, Miss Howard came and told me you went. What would you like? We have walking tacos, the extra option today, and then burgers or pizza, walking taco. All right, 716. This is convenient because you guys can look at that while I update the lunch thing. I'll zoom out in a minute so you can see these other answers over here, but I want to keep it zoomed in so you guys can see everything a bit more clear. Questions on 716. And guys, like if you look at the homework for tonight and you're like, ooh, this looks tough, I'd rather do it with people, like we do that at Math Lunch too. You can work on the current homework. You don't even have to be behind. So fraction busters in 70. I can't quite remember how well we covered this or not. So I wanted to go back and talk about this again real quick. This is in your math notes packet. On page... all the way on the back. Is it not here? No. It's on page 1, 2, 3, 4. It says solving equations with fraction busters. So guys, if you look at your math notes packet, pull this out real quick. right here. To eliminate the denominators, multiply all of the terms on both sides by the common denominator. Now, here's the like why it's called fraction busters and why it works a bit more efficiently. Guys, I really hope that some people, if you're choosing to not pay attention, I hope it's because you know this, not because you're hiding from it. Some of you are starting to get in a bad habit of hiding from the difficult stuff. If I'm looking at denominators of 3 and 5, in my head, without even writing things down, I can probably figure out a common denominator option would be 3 and 5, 15, right? So I do 3 times 5. So 15 could be the common denominator over here, meaning if I multiply everything, every piece, all of it, that's the part people mess up. That's why I'm repeating myself. Every single piece, even the number over here. What happens, and they don't write this step out, this is why I wanted to like pop over here real quick, and you might want to write this in between the steps. What happens is this becomes 15x over 3 and 15x over 5, and those reduce down to 5x plus 3x, and that is how we get to the next steps that they show us here. So the 15 goes on top for both of these. I mean, or you could really just say 15 divided by 3, because this 15 is really like it's over 1, and this 15 is really like it's over 1, and so is this 15 if we care to write it. So that's how fraction busters works. So here, with 2, 5, and 10, what could I multiply the entire... Actually, I'll leave A for you because B is a bit trickier. 5, 6, and 3. If you haven't done B, let's do B together. 5, 6, and 3, what could be a common denominator here? 30. So everything is getting multiplied by 30. I'm actually going to write that in red because it's intense and important. Sorry that the B is so close to it. I should have left you guys some space. So guys, how we should technically write it is parentheses on both sides. And then we do 30 times and times 30. The in-between step that you don't necessarily have to write once you get good at this, and I think I need a post-it because I'm going to run out of space. I'll zoom in a little bit further. I might do this up on the board to make it a bit easier to see. That's what, 70B? Go ahead and play with that for a second if you want to. I need to go a few days back. Which one was the 716? I'm going to do this up here to make life easier. If 30 is the common denominator we choose to use, which actually I think is the best choice here, you could use bigger ones. If you multiply 5 times 6 times 3, you might think about 90 being the common denominator, which would work, just not as well. They'd be really big numbers. So times 30 times 30. Here's our in-between step. 30 times negative 8x. Well, what's 8 times 3? 24. So negative 240. I'm going to write that in a different color. X over 5. And guys, I'm going to show you the shortcut here in a second. 30 times 1, okay, that one's not bad. 30 over 6 equals negative 150x over 3. Now this totally works. I can reduce those fractions. But I'm going to drag all this across the screen for a second and show you the easier way. Easier, right? Not easy, but easier. And this will work. So if the way I'm about to show you at all confuses you, you don't have to take it. That will work. Right here in this first fraction for b, 30 is on top and 5 is on bottom. What is 30 divided by 5? 6. So what I actually want to do is 6 times the negative 8x, really. What's that? Negative 48, I think. So negative 48x, that's what this reduces to, is negative 48x. The next part of the fraction, I'm just going to change to a different kind of purpley color. What is 30 divided by 3? Oh, sorry, yeah, you're right. What is 30 divided by 6? 5. So 5 times this numerator, just 5. That's what this would reduce to, right? We can see 30 divided by 6, oh yeah, that would be 5. And then, might as well use green for what it equals. Equal to, you guys can probably tell the next thing I'm going to do is this. What's 30 divided by 3? 10. And then it makes negative 50x. So you can either write the in-between steps, or the point of fraction busters is to be able to say, if 30 is what I'm multiplying by, do the division first and then multiply. Or you can multiply and then reduce. Both ways work the same. Or you could give them all the same denominators and solve it that way. So we might review more of this. I just want to make sure we have plenty of time to talk about simple interest today. I'm probably going to show you guys more of this. But you know that you could, I'm going to clone this real quick. You could just grab these fractions, all 3 of them, decide, okay, I want to make all of them have a denominator of 30, do the work to get there, and then we can solve that. That's another way to do Fraction Buster, and I forget if we show it to you. I think there's an example in the book. I just don't think I included it here. All right, back to answers, because that's review of Fraction Busters. Should probably zoom out a tiny bit. Guys, with your histograms, you cannot just put 2, 3, 4 on your histogram. We gotta put the 20, the 30, the 40, not just like the 2, 3, 4 from the stem and leaf, because this is the mistake that I'm seeing some of you do, is you're essentially taking the stem and leaf and making it the histogram, which it's pretty much the same. But we got to put what actual numbers go down here. So any other questions? To find the mean, oops, sorry, not meaning to drag. To find the mean, we add them all up and divide by how many we have. Right? The mean is the average. Mean, average. I hate that we say mean is average, because I don't want the average to be mean. I want the average to be nice. All right, if there's no more questions, we got work to do. So we need your math notes out still. If 715 or 716 are done, please turn those in. On your math notes, I want to say it's on page 5. Beneath percent increase or decrease, what we did yesterday, find your simple interest. Find your simple interest. Guys, your group should grab 3 or 4 colors of highlighters if you don't have them, and share so that all the groups can have them. pretty sure I just colored on my sweater. That happens. All right. Let's do some highlighting so we can all reference this. Guys, the point of you having the notes packet, again, is so it's not attached to a homework that you have to turn in, so you can keep referencing back to this. But this doesn't help you if you don't use it. So please highlight this. Please use it. By the way, I'm thinking about we'll just turn this in at the end of the chapter. This will be like a practice assignment. So if you need some motivation to do it, this is going to get collected. When we talk about simple interest, and guys, I put simple in quotations on like the slides for today. I put simple in quotations, and I need to get back to our slides for today. It's not that this is not like easier. It's the type of interest because there's also compound. Compound interest is more complicated, and it like stacks, right? It compounds on itself. Simple interest keeps doing the same thing over and over again. So the first thing that people get goofed up on, P in our equation, and you guys can read the equation, it's I equals P times R times T. P stands for capital principal. The main word here that we need to worry about is the word principal. And that is our starting amount. So what you should be writing on your paper right now, not drawing on your hands, is starting amount. And you could even just put starting like $, because it's always going to be talking about money. So down here in the example, using that same color you should be holding, and you can trade colors around your group, just make sure that things match. If Teresa invested $14.25 in a savings account, that is her principal. That is the P value. Here's where it gets tricky, because we say the word interest, but that's not the I. The percent that they tell you, that is the rate, but it's even trickier than that because we have to put it in rate form, which is decimal form. So the rate of 3.5%, well, what's percent mean? Out of 100. So guys, what I want you to write on your paper, man, I need to get a pink pen. I don't know where they all went, but my pink pens disappeared. 3.5%. We actually have to move the decimal to the left 2 places to get it into rate form. So R equals 0.035. And that's what we're always going to do with the percent, is move that decimal 2 places left, because if we put 3.5 over 100, that's what it does. When we put our 3.5 out of 100%, that is what it does. It divides by 100, it moves the decimal 2 places left. Now time is going to depend on what they tell you for how often the interest like cycles. So here they tell you the interest is annual. What does annual mean? Yearly. Yeah, annual means yearly. So time is going to be based off the situation they tell you. In this case, time is going to be 4 years, because they tell us it's annually, so we use 4 years. And the last thing we haven't highlighted is how much money you're going to make. Or, yeah, for those of you that just said yay, or how much extra money you're going to owe back to the bank. So here's the example. I would like to go buy a Pepsi. And fortunately, the pop machine, I shouldn't say this because we're trying to get kids to stop drinking soda. The pop machine here is still only $1. I need $1, but I don't have one. Mia, would you happen to have $1 I can borrow? So Mia is going to loan me $1. So thank you. Mia's going to loan me $1 so I can go get a Pepsi. We planned this. So Mia gives me $1, but she goes, Hudson, I expect that money back, if you didn't just hear what she said. And then she says, plus interest. I knew I should have brought my money to school today, because if this is plus interest, I'm going to owe Mia the $1 back plus extra money. So if Mia charges me 25% interest, that's kind of high, but guys, that's like what a credit card charges. 25% interest. What's 25% of $1? 25 cents. So if she charges me this interest daily, if I pay her back tomorrow, I got to pay her $1.25. But what if I don't pay her back till the next day? It's another 25 cents and I owe her $1.50. I hope that didn't go in my coffee. If I wait till the next day, I got to pay her back $1.75. And very quickly, I feel like, man, that was silly to borrow this money because now I'm paying back Mia all of what I originally got from her plus the extra interest. That's how simple interest works. But every day, it's another same amount. That's why we say it's simple, is every day is just another quarter, another quarter, another quarter, another quarter. Compound interest would do something like, okay, after day 1, I pay you back $1.25. But day 2, no, I lost it. Instead of paying just 25 cents, now I got to pay her 35 cents for the second day. And then maybe I got to pay her 50 extra cents for the third. Like, it keeps going up. Compound interest keeps growing, which is good if it's your money that you invested. It's real bad if you borrowed it. John, question?
Why is there just a random word
Oh, because this is saying, this is relating. I equals P times R times T, where this P means principal, I means interest, R means... So all of these go back to this formula. So the one thing I didn't highlight over here, you guys, we could just write this out again. So if you want to grab a pencil or something to make it a lot bigger, I equals P times R times T. And I don't like T, but we have to use it. Because T looks like a plus sign in a way. And we often use lowercase t. I kind of wish we used uppercase t, but... Yeah, I know, lowercase is worse than uppercase. I don't know why we use an uppercase P and then lowercase r and t, but that's normally how we see it. Here they used all lowercase except for the I. So don't let it throw you off if it's upper or lowercase. They might use either of them. All right, let's practice this. We are going to have a school dance. And I'm not joking, we are. We're going to have a beach-themed dance on... Yeah, we still got to let... It's because we were still planning it. That's why you guys don't quite know yet.
What day is the 8th?
Hey, don't quote me. Don't like start trying to write stuff down.
What day is the 8th?
Just, yeah, it doesn't matter because it's not for sure that day yet. Let's talk about the problem that I'm trying to talk about. We are going to rent a hall to have this dance. Hey, those of you that I lost, that have zoned out now, come back. And you're going to need highlighters. We're going to rent this hall, but we don't have the money to do it until people show up to the dance and pay for the dance. This is on your homework, people, or on your homework paper. Homework, people. All right, so pull out your homework sheet. If you don't have it out, get it out, 718. Anyone want to read? Farah, go ahead, since you raised your hand so nice. You want to go ahead to the Mr. Beck? I changed it to Mr. Beck instead of Miss Becker because we have a Mr. Beck here at Phoenix. So if you want to go ahead and read the next part, you can. Right, yeah, on your paper it says Mr. Beck.
Mr. Beck, the student council advisor, explained to the students that the amount
So hold on, pause there. So go ahead and talk about A with your team. And then if you get through A, talk about B, talk about C. You're going to want a calculator. If you don't have one, you're going to want one at least for your group. At least for your group. Highlighters would be very convenient here. Reset again. Fedorenko, what did we say we got to do to the 2%? As a what form? Decimal form. So guys, 2% on your paper, what I should see is something showing that 2% is actually 0.02. That is our R, 0.02. Do you guys need more time to figure out week 1? In your calculator, what we want to do for the I, what was our, Jesus, what's our principal amount here? What's the starting amount we borrow? Yeah, 825. So P, the principal, is 825 times the rate of 0.02 times, how many weeks are we looking at in part A? Anybody? How many weeks in part A? 1. And the PTA said they are going to charge our interest each week. So our interest is going to happen every week.
Could I please have Audrey Brett to the office? Audrey, please come to the office. Thank you.
So for each week, we would just be calculating times 1. If we're looking at just one of the interest cycles. So the one day that I kept the dollar from Mia. I owed her back a quarter, but here, what's 2% of 825? Can we confirm? $16.50? So we all got? Check it. If you didn't get that yet in your calculator, type in 825 times 0.02. Make sure that you can get this on your own. And you can do times 1, but it doesn't really change anything. So you said that's $16.50? So then, what if we, Layla Graph, what if we don't pay the PTSA back for 3 weeks? How could we figure out what we owe them extra after 3 weeks? Yeah, we essentially take this 1 week amount and multiply by however many weeks we're going to keep the money for. So I could rewrite it as 825. I forget if I left this in the notes, so show your calculations. But I could do 825 times 0.02 times 3 weeks. 49.50? Somebody help me out. My brain is only so good. Is it 49.50? Okay, just checking. Now, if we planned way far out, we borrowed the money really early, and we keep the money for 8 weeks. Figure out with your group, and guys, write out the work. So I'm going to write out the original formula again. I equals P times R times T. Now hold up, because I'm going to give you a couple minutes. What is the total amount we have to pay back the PTSA. So like when I had to pay back Mia, I had to pay back the first $1 and the interest. You and your group figure out the total we owe the PTSA. Take like at least 2 minutes. Might not take you that long. And you can do a practice problem like from your homework. Anybody else need tonight's homework before I put it away? Anybody else? Write out new work for this part of the problem for the 8 weeks. I want to see the new work. It does make sense how you can set that up and just make that. Right? You don't have to write it out as long as it makes sense. We just do the same formula, change that to 8. Does it make sense that that for 8 weeks? Just change that to 8. Because like nothing changes except for the time. Does that make sense? The only difference is time. The principle was the same. The rate was the same. I love those of you that still have your math notes out, that you're looking at the example in the notes and using it to help you. That's awesome. It's a good habit to get in. You're going to need it for your homework tonight anyways. So guys, actually personal request, can some of you come see me in August when we come back to school and like remind me of what we were doing here in like March, April, and May so I start the year better next year? Like and get kids in these habits. And maybe you can help teach the new 7th grade class of like taking notes during class and using what we write down during class and like having a separate packet. I gotta do this next year for the earlier chapters. Is this better than having it on the homework paper? Yeah, so some of you are probably like, I don't know if it's better, I don't use it. And that's still a problem. But on tonight's homework, you should have this out, like on your desk, or today if you're doing it during school. You should be looking at the example while you're doing the homework problems. Right? Because this is done out for you. It is for sure correct. So I'm hoping when we clip stuff back in our binder at the end of class, you're clipping those things in right next to each other and pulling them both out to do your homework tonight. Random cards. Aiden, did you set up the formula again, or what'd you do to solve this?
So I did the same formula, but changed the time to 8.
Yeah, so Aiden changed the time. Okay, my smartboard's not gonna work. What'd you get when you changed the time to 8?
I got 132, but I knew that was the interest, so I added the original one to get $957.
But can you repeat what you said again, like a little slower and loud?
Sure. So the whole equation is just the interest that you pay with, but you also had to add the original number.
So hold on. Say that. So you said this is just interest, and interest is added on with the original. So what Aiden did next? Go ahead.
Add 132 with 825 to get 957.
So our total 957. Make sure that number has a label. No naked numbers. This. Hey, another vocab word for you. This is called the balance. Is it A-N-C-E, E-N-C-E? Is it on your paper? It might be in your notes. So, on your math notes, I'm going to look it up. It is A-N-C-E. Okay, just making sure. On your math notes, there is a blank spot right here. You need to write balance. Guys, that's blank on purpose so I can see if you actually took notes during class. To find the balance, to find the total. Right, you could also write total out here if you want. You add the principal plus the interest. So in the example in our notes, Teresa invested, so she'll get back extra money. In our class example, we borrowed, so we owe back extra money. Questions? Let's try another one. DJ Hudcap decided to start charging. Yeah, I wouldn't do that to you guys. All right, so if we're going to need to pay $1,000 for the DJ and the photographer total, right? They come together, they like are colleagues or something like that. And the PTA also charges them 2% weekly simple interest. How much will we owe for each week of that loan we took out for the DJ and the photographer? This is not on your practice sheet. Sorry, this is probably just like on graph paper. 2% of 1,000. Are you serious? Dude, I have to know how to read these. I can't read Korean. I'm going to need somebody to help me, dude. Do you know how to read Korean? Well, not right now. We're running out of class time. But let's talk later. This is sweet. All right. $1,000, the rate. What is 2% as a decimal? 0.02. We move that decimal 2 places left. And then after just 1 week, wait. How can I find 1% of something? Yeah, it's 1/100th. So 1% of 1,000 is $10. So 2% should come out to be 20. Now, what I want to end class on is like a this always works. No matter what type of problem you're doing. So I need your attention, please. If the PTA decides instead, they're trying to make things as cheap as they can, that they only need to earn an extra $18 each week off of that $1,000 they loaned us, and they ask us to calculate what percent is that, guys, this will always work anytime you're asked to find a percent. To find a percent, you should write this on graph paper or something. We do the part divided by the whole, and then we do times 100, right? But that is almost like subconscious. We just kind of bump that decimal. This is what we did yesterday. But we said change over original, right? This is the same thing. The change is $18. We're going up by $18. So the change, or the part that they charge us, is 18. What was the original or the whole here? 1,000. So we do 18 divided by 1,000. I'm going to get that answer first, and then I'll multiply by 100. If you do this in your calculator, you get 0.018. But then we multiply by 100. And what would this percent actually be? 1.8%. So they're cutting us a little bit of a deal. Instead of 2%, they're only going to charge us 1.8%.
Or if you know that 2% is 20, then 1.8 would be 18, or 1.5 would be 18.
you're reading the proportional relationships. That doesn't work for everybody's brains, right? But yes, absolutely. This proportional, I love what you're saying. If 20 is 2, 18 is 1.8. All right, that's it, guys. Have a wonderful day. A student I was chatting with last night got very confused that we don't have bells. They asked, how do you know when class is over? When the teacher stops teaching. Thought it was kind of funny.
When the teacher, and the thing about teaching or the students say I have to go.
Well, even then, you guys could say it's time to go, and I could say, no, it's not.
I
You know.
could just leave. But we didn't remind
But
me that.
would you?
I did that once. I was so mad to my teacher that I knew if I stayed there, I was
Gonna, like, make a mistake?